Hello, everyone. Peppa here. Uh, I This is a bit of a more serious video. I wouldn't call it necessarily a rant because, unlike the Resident Evil chapter, I was very angry. I was shouting. I was upset. When it comes to this topic, however, it I can't even really be mad. I'm more just at a loss for words. Behavior recently, if you've been up to date on Dead by Daylight news, Behavior announced a few days ago, I think it was last week, it might have been last Friday, that the company Boss Protocol was essentially nothing to do with them. In fact, let me actually find the tweet itself just so I can make sure that I am getting it correct. Okay, here's a tweet. Recently, there's been some talk about NFTs, so we wanted to clear some things up. When we work with our licensing partners, we provide them with in-game models as well as chapter keys. They are free to use these however they see fit as the rightful owners of these characters. To be very clear, there is no exclusive in-game content linked to these models when they are distributed outside the game in any way. We hope this clarifies some of your questions and doubts. So, when we first heard about Boss Protocol, who was making these Hellraiser NFTs linked with Dead by Daylight, a lot of us were rightfully very, very afraid because of exactly what NFTs entail, what they entitle, and a lot of us, Pixel Brush did the best talking about this, and I highly recommend you watch his videos on the subject matter. The company Boss Protocol is relatively new. It was made less than a month old. The Twitter account was less than a month old. The promotional material they used looked very Photoshop, looked very fake. There was that, so a lot of us were like, this is probably just a scam. It has nothing to do with Behavior. Hopefully Behavior comes out with an official statement. And then on October 14th, which was 5 days ago, so this would have been last week, we got the statement, which was this tweet. And this tweet made it to where it sounded like they didn't have anything to do with it. Once they make licensing agreements, they hand over what they make to the license holders. License holders are free to do whatever they want, essentially cleaning their hands of it. And because of that, a lot of us had a breath of fresh air. I myself was like, okay, NFTs are bad, but I don't think Behavior would go that low to make, to be part of the NFT business. Today, however, we got this. Behavior worked with Boss Protocol over several months to adapt in-game models for use as NFTs and approved them prior to the release of Pinhead and Dead by Daylight. The NFTs have a chance, keyword chance, to grant access to the Hellraiser chapter of Dead by Daylight. Park Avenue Entertainment and Boss Protocol are great partners, and it's been a pleasure to work with them to bring Hellraiser to Dead by Daylight. Find more at, and then link to the Boss Protocol website. So, it was essentially confirmed that they had worked with this company. And if you go by the original tweet, it sounded like they didn't. They were just like, hey, license holders are free to do whatever they want. Which means that tweet was disingenuous at best, meaning that it was, either poorly worded or it was misleading or it was just an outright lie at worst. And I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, what is an NFT? Well, what is an NFT and why is it so bad? Well, an NFT stands for a non-fungible token, okay? But basically what it is there's essentially, think of like a warehouse. And in the warehouse, there are things that are owned by people. An NFT is essentially there's a box in this said warehouse and you own this box. That is your box. NFTs are essentially digital databases, and there is a tiny section of that database that you can purchase for, in quote, um, exclusivity, meaning it's yours. NFTs, like I said, stands for non-fungible token, meaning it's not tangible. Everything you get is online. And NFTs are usually JPEGs. In fact, let me pull up some examples of NFTs. These are NFTs. This is an NFT. These are NFTs. They're just JPEGs. Just JPEGs. That's all these are. They're just JPEGs. That's it. Apparently, Nyan Cat is an NFT now. More NFTs. They're digital images. And you're like, okay, that doesn't sound bad. So why is it bad? Well, NFTs cost a lot of energy to make. As you can see from this tab I pulled up, NFTs are minted on the Ethereum blockchain. That's a type of cryptocurrency. The second most popular after Bitcoin. One analysis found the energy footprint of the average transaction on this network is roughly 35 kWh, about the same as powering a refrigerator for a month. Now, even that doesn't really sound that bad, because you're like, okay, it's a refrigerator for a month. And refrigerators probably don't take a lot of power. Well, the average household, because that's what this unit energy is. This is kilowatts an hour, 35 kilowatts an hour. The average United States household uses 30 kilowatt hours per day. Let that sink in. To make one of those images that I just showed you, you can power an entire house for a day and have some energy left over. It is a massive waste of energy. And if it's still not clicking for you as just how bad that is, it's essentially a waste of natural resources. Things like fossil fuels, wood. Essentially, every time one of these NFTs is made, you're essentially burning away a chunk of the rainforest. These are ridiculously bad for the environment. If it's not a matter of how much energy it's taking, it's the amount of fact that a bunch of energy has to be used, which pumps a bunch of toxins into our atmosphere. This is actively damaging to the planet that you and I live on. And this is serious. This is way more of a grand scope than anything behavior has ever done. Yeah, they've been really, really bad. They've been really anti-consumer. They've released buggy content. They've released broken content. They've gone around our backs and lied and treated us like garbage for years. But they never did anything that actively hurt the environment and the planet. That's the thing. This affects everyone. Not just you, not just me, not just the Dead by Daylight community. It affects the planet we live on. Think about this. If we completely destroy our planet, that is it. That is like extinction level event right there. And yeah, I'm probably sounding like I'm exaggerating, but I'm merely just trying to put it into perspective. This is essentially our home that is being threatened because of NFTs. And if you aren't convinced that these aren't bad for the environment and the planet, then I really don't know what to tell you. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And usually for something this serious, I actually would have a webcam going so you could see my expressions, but I don't have a working camera, so there's that. But behavior is working with and supporting this. And they have done it at the absolute worst time. let's go back over the past couple of months. Let's go all the way back to June, 4 months ago, right? Because that's when this year of Dead by Daylight started. Essentially, what would be year 6. We had the Resident Evil chapter, which had problems with people getting scammed because of the cosmetics, which were then locked to sets. We had performance issues. We had people's consoles bricking because of that update. We had server issues. The Dead by Daylight boycott movement was started. And what else am I missing? The fact that essentially the game was unplayable for console just in general, because it was either your console either bricked and exploded, or it was just you couldn't play because it constantly crashed. So we start off the year very, very bad. Okay, maybe it gets better, right? On to the anniversary event. They can't screw that up, right? It's their own anniversary. It's 5 years of Dead by Daylight. They can't screw that up. First few hours of the event doesn't work. They have to hotfix that too. So they couldn't even do their own anniversary event right. Okay. Moving on then. We go to the Hellraiser DLC. Did anything happen with Hellraiser? Well, again, there was performance issues after Hellraiser dropped because they had bugged it to where 4K portraits were on PC players. They were forced on for PC players, and we couldn't turn that off. So there was performance issues again, which was then fixed, last bug fix. And now we are at the mid-chapter PTB, where boon totems on PTB are completely broken. And granted, they did nerf them when they're coming to live. But somewhere in between this long string of unfortunate events or behavior where they kept messing up over and over and over and over again, behavior was behind the scenes working on this. Working on bringing NFTs to Dead by Daylight. And I just don't know what to say. If I personally had known that buying the Hellraiser chapter or buying any cosmetic skins for Pinhead was supportive of this practice, I never would have. And I'm sure a lot of you would probably share the same sentiment. I honestly don't know what to feel. I'm a weird mixture of hurt, betrayed. It's just they told us this after we had already bought the DLC, after we had already bought skins. This isn't like before the chapter launched. This isn't a week or two after the chapter launched. This is a month and a half almost after the chapter launches, because we're at the mid-chapter right now. The mid-chapter for Dead by Daylight literally comes out in like 9 hours from the time of me recording this. 9-10 hours. And this is it. They're okay with this. Behavior is okay with supporting a business practice. It's just as bad as a pyramid scheme, essentially. It is so bad that we even have other developers from Behavior saying that they don't support this. In fact, I'll show you. Let's go to McLean. McLean used to be the head programmer. I am strongly opposed to the spread of NFTs and extremely disappointed to see the game that I love associated with them. That's McLean. That used to be the head programmer for Dead by Daylight, who left. And he's come out and he said that he doesn't support them. And while I haven't had the best experience with McLean, I'll admit, McLean's doing the right thing. He's calling them out. He's saying that they're doing the wrong thing, because they are. But that is what it is, I guess. So, let's back. And that's what's happening now. Behavior is in bed, and they're supporting the NFT business, which actively is harming and killing our planet. Um, I've overlooked so many things when it comes to this game. I've put up with and dealt so many things when it comes to behavior. Bad business decisions, bad marketing decisions, bad balance decisions, bad decisions, bugs, tons of bugs. I've been playing this game for 5 years, guys. I I I played in the beta on another account. I played in the beta. I remember back when Trapper was called Chuckles in the menu. Do you know how many people are left in the community that can say that? Not much. Most of them have left, and for good reason. Everything that Behavior has done over these past 5 or 6 years that I've been playing this game, I've overlooked, or I've put up with until now. The Howling Grounds event that happened, I think it was like 4 years ago. They made a change where you could save someone off a killer's shoulder if you dropped a pallet on them during the pickup animation or blinded them at any point of that animation. I remember that. That was during an event. I played through that, and I got the cosmetics for it. Both the jacket and the hunter's mask. I played through that. I suffered through that. I remember Release Legion and how bad he was, and how if you were a survivor, and you started moonwalking, there was nothing you could do. I played through that. I overlooked that. I remember PTB Ghostface, where you would spin your camera 360 degrees and reveal Ghostface. I remember that. In fact, there's a rant sitting on my YouTube channel where I'm really, really angry about that. I remember that. I remember... God, there's just so much stuff that I remember, and the other stuff that I'm probably forgetting. I remember the controversy when they started rifts. People got extra levels. Behavior didn't like that, so they delayed the battle pass because we had gotten levels on the PTB and they were carrying over to live, and they pushed that back like 3 times. I remember that. I remember when Twins launched and they were buggy, unplayable, and the entire game was essentially keeling over and dying. I remember that. I remember Release Pyramid Head, who was a tunneling zoning machine and was one of the worst killers that we had ever gotten implemented at launch. I remember that too. I remember when they reworked Freddy, and he wasn't a fun, unique killer anymore. He became a brain-dead monstrosity that everyone hated. I remember that too. I remember them nerfing Billy, making him super clunky and basically unfun. Remember them nerfing Nurse, making her super clunky and also unfun. I remember all the Pig nerfs that Pig really didn't need that she got for some reason. There, there are so many changes they've made, like the Lucky Break change, that are just why. And all through that, I still put up with and played the game. MMR was a big one. I had installed when I saw that they were turning MMR on. I had installed for like 2 weeks, and after like a week of everyone knowing, everyone that I know playing and going, it's about the same. I was like, okay, fine. I reinstalled it. I honestly wish I didn't, because there's this. There's a certain line that needs to be drawn morally, and I think this is that line. As bad as Dead by Daylight ever was, as bad as it bricked consoles, as bad as it played, as bad as it functioned, as poorly balanced as it was never openly, gladly hurting the environment. until now. And that's that. It's just, as much as I complain about this game, as much as I moan and whine and complain, I love this game. I think a lot of us do. We complain about this game, but at the same time, we love it. Which is why when someone asks us, why do you keep playing, and we don't really have an answer, it's because we love the game. We know it can be good. I know it can be good. I've had people tell me that I should stop playing the game because of how much I hate the game. It's not that I hate the game. It's that I just want it to be better. And this just further proves my point. I didn't ask for this. I don't know anyone in the Dead by Daylight community that asked for this. Why would we want this? I don't think any of us wanted to help a company burn down part of a rainforest. There are lines that need to be drawn. And I think behaviors drastically overstep that line. So I don't know with behavior anymore. I thought that they were starting to turn around, considering outside of some performance issues, Pinhead was relatively fine. You know, they had nerfed boon totems off PTB. It's almost like they were listening for once, but I guess they weren't. And I don't want to support the company anymore. I know I said that with Resident Evil. I was like, I don't want to support this. And I didn't. Until they started showing that they were doing better. The mid-chapter patch notes were great. One of the largest patch notes we ever got. I think it was the largest patch notes we ever got. And then there's this. Now, out of all times, just when it looked like you were starting to turn things around, you screwed up. You screwed up badly. And there's no coming back from this. This is a PR disaster. I don't think there's any coming back from this. As for me, no. I'm not going to continue to support them financially. I won't. I can't. I have morals, and my morals are saying no. This is too far. Like I said, this is a very serious topic, very serious problem. And I don't want to support a company that gleefully accepts such arrangements. If they had any semblance of dignity, and Park Avenue said, well, we want to make NFTs with your models. If I was behavior, I would have said no. No, I don't want your license. So there's that. I mean, I'm hoping that VHS takes off, especially after this, because behavior doesn't deserve any money anymore. Not at this point. Pixel Brush said it the best. Space Coconut said it the best. We need to hit them where it hurts. We can't accept this. We as the Dead by Daylight community deserve better than this. We do. It's just fact. With all the stuff that behavior has forced us to put up with, we as the community deserve better. And if you're anything like me, this probably convinced you to stop supporting them financially too. Don't buy the new premium pass. Don't buy any cosmetics. Don't buy the new chapter. It's not worth your money. It's not. Not to support a company that's okay with setting the world on fire, essentially. And that's really it. At this rate, I'm just hoping I get a VHS beta key. Because it's honestly heartbreaking to see a game that I've put this much time into, this much love, this much money, this much care turn to this. And that's it. I have nothing else to say. Good night, everyone.